Yo, what's up? It's your boy Carceno. Let's get into it. Want to thank all y'all for coming in. Give y'all time to show up. It's a crazy, crazy world. Now, everybody wants to talk about Pac every day. These old washed up dudes who were like bodyguards or security managers or whatever the hell they want to be. And now that they, don't have nothing going on, they once again doing what they know, waiting for somebody else to pay them. Now, that's neither here nor there. Let's stay focused and talk about Pac. I was asked this interesting question about what happened with Pac's script that he had, and Pac never wrote the script for Monster Cody. Cody had some stuff that he wrote down, and Tupac has heard stories and talking to Cody and through the letters he got of all the things that he done. That's what created the interest. So what created the buzz was like Monster Cody and all the people in jail when as far as this West Coast rivalry and all that stuff brewing up based on what happened to Pac overseas. Not overseas, but over the waters in New York. Once that happened, people was like, oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? So after Pac got hit and he went straight to jail. So he never had a chance to come back home to LA. So in LA, the streets was lit. Lit. You hear me? Lit. So now, him being stuck in New York on the East Coast, goes to jail immediately. He don't come home for almost 2 years. So it seemed like, but it was like a couple, like 9 months or whatever, before he got out. Should got him out and helped arrange it. So anyway, he's out. So when he's out, the situation shifts. All the people that was locked up at that time, people who had done time, they was West Coast. They ain't like how that went down. So they wanted to create problems with they soldiers that they got out on the streets for any East Coast artists. Like that energy was there. Like they finna get, they gonna know they ain't safe. Like this messed up. You can't come do that to one of our own. We send them over there. And the fact that Pac was kicking up so much dust. And he was cool with all these dudes. And he was more aligned with Crips than he was Bloods. So it's very instrumental that we're saying this. Now, the reason we're saying this is because when Pac talked to Cody back in, I think that was October '95. Pac had just got home and went straight to work and had songs done. He's talking about songs he's got coming out. We've all heard the phone messages. But Pac was also clear headed at the time. He was focused. He was laser focused on his work. And see, while he was locked up, it was no drinking, it was no smoking. Pac was clear in his thoughts and everything. So he had all these ideas and he couldn't wait to get to work to do them. So he wanted to play Monster Cody in the movie. So that's why he's saying, I want to produce this movie, I want to write it, and I want to produce that, and I'm gonna do it right. And all the stuff that he learned from the letters and the stories he heard about Cody, he want to play Cody's life. And then they was gonna have a guy play Tukey. Some people said it was Vin Rames was gonna play him, but at that time, Vin Rames was a small actor. You know, he just really jumped into fame with Pulp Fiction, but he really was a small actor who just hit it big right there to get him to play that. I don't know if he would have, but okay. I could see him playing Tukey, I guess. But Pac was going to add on 20 to 30 pounds of muscle. Like he was like, I'm finna go in there and I'm finna go hit some of these dudes that's down there at Venice Beach. And I'm gonna tell them I need to go out and get 30 pounds, of muscle, and I'm gonna all up top, and I'm gonna get swole for this role. I'm gonna play this part to perfection. You're gonna be proud of me. That's what Pac wanted. He wanted Cody to be proud of him playing him. So, Cody was honored by that, and wanted to get John Singleton or another guy that he know to direct it and all that, and why Pac could produce it and star in it, and get people to get behind it because Pac wanted to get back into acting as well, because that check was great. He wanted to get back to doing that. He was talented to do both. But when you go to jail for what he did, that basically vetoes everything that you had in play. So he wanted to get back in that as much as possible. So he was fighting to get his life back on all ends as far as the entertainment side. And once All Eyes on Me came out, then, he was able to go back and do that. But when he pledged MOB, that sealed any chances of him doing any of that with Cody. Rest in peace to all of them. Pac, Cody, it's just that smothered. No matter how cool he was, he could not play that role no more. There's no way he could play Cody if he was a member of MOB. That was not gonna happen. Once he did that, that movie of Pac involvement in it of that nature, of him acting in it and playing, no, that couldn't happen. So to the person that asked me, that answer is no. It's not that Pac couldn't play the role. If he did gain the weight or whatever that you guys thought he could do, I think he would play the great Cody. But that was never gonna happen. Once he took that turn, he started smoking and drinking, and he got home, got back to his usual programming, and once he got back into that world, they was giving him some cash money in his pocket, and then the ego was out, and he was back to being that Pac. But then when he joined MOB, that was it. That Monster Cody thing was not happening. So that's what happened to it. Well, he was distracted with other things. That was just a hope to do one day. Not like it was actually finna happen like right away. For Pac to put on that kind of muscle, it would take months of training, like 6, 7 months of training for him to put on that kind of mass, and he still probably wouldn't be like there. But that's about a 6, 7 month process. just rigorous training. Well, people got to get after it, you know. I was a little complacent sometimes. You know, I felt like I probably was a little complacent and didn't feel like I could do or I did everything that I needed to do when it came to, because I wrote a couple of movie scripts myself. Tried to get one turned into Hollywood and got stolen and got ripped into shreds and was turned into another movie. So I didn't trust Hollywood no more after that. But it was straight like that, you know. So I really have a hard time trying to navigate through everyone else's journeys, you know. You got to find your own way sometimes. When you got to rely on other people to get things done, that's how things get jammed up. You know, I'm executive producer in a motion picture that is yet to be released. But I have contracts, I got everything. Y'all seen that. So the fact that I have these things and that I'm on point with it, you have all these other people that try to come up with all these ways of detraction to make it look as if you're not who you say you are or you don't do what you say you do, which is 100% false. We tell it like it is. Pac was a good dude, but if he ain't deal with you, he didn't deal with you. Like Mo B said, "Oh, Pac ignored me, man." I was like, "What's up, Pac?" And he just turned his head and just went straight. And he was like, "Man, like what was he tripping on me for?" Because he didn't know he didn't have nothing to do with it, but he just know I know you through them. So that's how we gonna move with it. Uh Everybody talking about, man, it's you scared to say dude's name, man. It's like Pac don't say his name, say his name. I'm like, dog, look, everybody ain't nobody scared to say dude's name. I'm just saying, what's the point? We all know Pac had some beef with Jack. And we all know why he felt Jack set him up and he felt Jack did something to him. You know, Jack was a serious individual. And once you come out and do what he did, um, Pac, I mean, chances are, you know, Jack took that very seriously. Now, here's the other side to that story because there's so many people that just really don't get it sometimes or understand what's it truly like to be in your position or situation. They just assume they know, right? So let's move forward with this progressively. All right? Stay with me for a minute. Everybody play the if game all the time. Like if Pac was did he survive that, what would have happened when cause he was leaving Suge. Pac wasn't going to leave Death Row. At one point he wanted to leave Death Row. He got his own publishing deal. That's what he was shopping to get his own publishing deal. So he could have that. But what he also was going to have control over of was his finances. He wants to know where his money was going, where it was being allocated. But Suge was ensuring him that, Machiavelli Records, what he was going to put out under his label and under Machiavelli as the artist, his Pac News moniker, as he was going to put Tupac to rest. That whole brand, and let Interscope just have that and just record under the name Machiavelli, which he had signed up under his euthanasia. That was going to be his publishing. So he was going to brand that name and use that. Now, Death Row was going to be the one to distribute the label, Machiavelli Records. So it was going to be distributed by Death Row, but Pac had his publishing that he wanted, and he was able to keep that and build on it and be Machiavelli. So Pac was satisfied with that. So while he was trying to build Machiavelli Records, he had his budget. That's why he's saying we ain't got a lot of money on the budget. We got to come out with these albums and make it hit. And once the Machiavelli album hit, we're going to use that money that's generating, that's going to build up the label. That's going to jumpstart the label. Then we come with the Outlaws out. Then we going to build from there. So Pac was going to do that. That's why his movie deals was under his government name. But his recording name, the number 2, with the PAC, he was retiring that name because he owed so much money on it. He wasn't going to get from under it. So Interscope wasn't going to like that too much. But Pac was so powerful, he could switch to a whole new moniker and nobody would even notice it. Or, he can get paid off of. Snoop did the same thing. When Snoop left Death Row, they owned the name. They owned his publishing under his name, Snoop Doggy Dogg. So he had to change his name to Snoop Dogg, which is basically the same thing. So he was Snoop Dogg. So this is how Death Row was able to release music. Every time that Snoop would come out with an album, they would release some previously unheard stuff or new stuff or old stuff they mixed up and just put it together to throw out to try to confuse and mess up the sales. When Snoop left, they try to mess up the album altogether. So when you do that, you screw up the game, and that's what Suge was doing, trying to screw him up in the game. So that album was called Snoop Doggy Dogg. While Snoop album was called Snoop Dogg. But people was confused and buying the wrong CD. There was a lot of confused fans, didn't know what was going on. He did the same thing with Daz and Corrupt. He did the same thing to Dr. Dre. Dre album was supposed to be called Dr. Dre, The Chronic. Dr. Dre presents The Chronic 2000. But Death Row put out Dr. Dre, The Chronic 2000. So that was coming out the same title. Because they could release Dr. Dre because they had it. So Dre was like, you know what? Screw that. They got the copyright, they got the license, and beat them to the Chronic 2000. Dre was gonna call it. That's why it was 2001. So he's like, it's 2001. So that came out, and then Dre Chronic album came out, and buddy boy, people did buy that Dr. Dre Chronic 2000 album, thinking it was the new Dre album. They were screwed. So Death Row made some money. They sold some units doing that. But as a trustworthy label, it mostly looked like a deceptional scam. But if you left Death Row, that's what they did. So that was the narrative. This is all facts. This is not rap. So no, he wouldn't have been able to play Cody no more once he became MOB. That wasn't gonna happen. Mm. Oh, there's plenty of Pac stories. It's just that nobody's life is considered very interesting, or certain incidents or instances that happen are considered interesting until they're no longer here anymore. Then everything they've done becomes like, I remember when he went to the bathroom, man, and he took that tissue roll, he took it right out of the gas station. Pac took a roll of tissue. He had to go take a dump. Pulls over at the filling station, goes in there, and the guy gives him that, and there was no tissue in there. Or it was some tissue he wasn't approving of. Pac snatched a roll of tissue out of the gas station, went in the bathroom to go take a dump. He was on a bicycle treadmill thing. So he had done that and got like basically running diarrhea. And he had to pull over quick and dip into the gas station. They didn't know what the problem was. And he had to just take a dump. So if that makes people very exciting to hear, did he wipe? I don't know. But that's what I tell you. People will say any story in the world when it comes to Pac now because he was so iconic. And now that he's gone, everybody, everything that he did, what did he have? Oh, he ate that. Oh, Pac loves some chicken parm. Get him some chicken parm. Oh man, he would eat that all day. Get him some fish or some crab legs. Oh, he would tear that up. This everything becomes interesting when no one's no longer here. Now, everybody a fan who took a picture with him, they had posted. But one thing about him is he was had a huge heart, but he was full of rage, full of it. That it got him in trouble, and it constantly would get him in trouble. His outbursts were just like, whoa, you just went from 0 to 1,000. To people just thought, oh, he's acting. He can't be real. That can't be real. How did you go from being totally calm, nothing wrong, to just whoosh, over the top, and then there's nothing really happening? Now, people that he said he knew, and people who claim they knew him, and they did, really, from Marin City, said he was always that way, even when he was young. Just have outbursts, and then would go back like it was nothing and be calm again. So, depends on who you talk to. Now, I'm going to get out of here. I took up a lot more of your time. Don't forget to go to the Patreon today. You know, on the first, we always kick everything off with a blast. So you got a Patreon versions of that's only gonna be Patreon, and that is the Jada Pickett, Will Smith, Grant Hill thing. You get to hear the Patreon side of that. You get to hear what happened with Tiffany Haddish and Brad Pitt. It's already out. You know, Michael Jackson, The Killing of Michael Jackson Part 4 is out. Then it's gonna get very interesting in this month of March. We finna have some March Madness for real on the Patreon. So look out for that. And don't forget to download the Patreon app. See, that's what makes it better for you to get the information because you get notified from the app immediately when things go up. So, like I said, I'm out. Love, peace, and hair grease. Everybody love and respect hip hop. I'm out.